Hey everyone, it is May the 15th, and those of you who've known me for a while know that I'm going to be real careful how I word this, I'm far from a feminist. I love being a woman. I would not want to be a man. Because God has called men and women to very different roles, and I love the role as a woman that He has called me to be. And I love the role that He has called men to fulfill that women can't fulfill. And I'm going to leave it right there, parked, and segue into this statement. I love that God inspired the writing of so many women in the Bible. He esteemed them. He valued them. I love how He showed that they were worthy of having a deep, abiding faith in Him. Equally, we do have some women, the Bible's full of women who are manipulative, and I'll leave it at that. But in today's story, or today's reading, we see two women who trusted God, who trusted men of God, Elisha, in their lives. And the woman here, again with the oil, this is Elijah had a woman, a widow that exercised faith, I should say, with Elijah. And then we have another widow that's described as a poor widow. And again, this is a nameless person. We don't know her name. The Bible is full of people, men and women, that teach us faith lessons, and we never know their name. I love that. So just wanted to lay that groundwork. This is just an exceptional, one of those exceptional stories in the Bible. In fact, it's only 7 verses. So I don't normally do this, but I'm going to read this before I get into the lesson. One day, the widow of a member of the group of prophets came to Elisha and cried out, "My husband who served you is dead. And you know how he feared the Lord." So this man must have been a godly leader in his home because he was influential on his family. But now a creditor has come, threatening to take my 2 sons as slaves. And he says, "What can I do to help you? Tell me what you have in the house." Now, these creditors, let me just say, were not outside of the legal. They were not outside the legalities. I'm fighting for a word here that I can't find. They were within the law. Let me do that instead of trying to find a word. They were within the law. They were not doing anything illegal. This was part of the custom until those credits were paid back. The sons would be having to work off that debt. Okay, but the woman did not want that to happen. "Tell me what you have in your house." Nothing at all. except a flask of olive oil, she replied. And Elijah said, borrow as many empty jars as you can from your friends and neighbors. Then go into your house with your sons. So this isn't a faith lesson just for her. This is a lesson for her sons as well. And shut the door behind you. Pour olive oil from your flask into the jars, setting each one aside when it's filled. She did as she was told. Her sons kept bringing jars to her, and she filled one after the other. Can you really imagine what that experience was like? So every container was full to the brim. Bring me another jar, she said to one of her sons. There aren't any more, he told her. And then the olive oil stopped flowing. A side note, oh wow, God gives us exactly what we need when we need it. And to the measure. When she told the man of God what had happened, he said to her, now sell the olive oil and pay your debts. You and your sons can live on what is left. What great, 7 great verses. 7 great verses. Am I willing or am I wishing? And I took that from Alexander McLaurin's quote there. I quoted he and Spurgeon today. In thinking of these points along with our stories, the Lord requires commitment without certainty of how things will work out. God takes care to deliver his servants in ways that exercise faith. He would not have them be little in faith, for faith is the wealth of the heavenly life. Oh, yes. So Elisha required a commitment from her. And God often requires a commitment of action before we can see a result. Now, there are times when he fulfills our need, he answers our prayer, and all was required was just a help me, Lord. I know you can do this, Lord, kind of prayer. But then there are oftentimes, more often than not in my life, it requires a step of faith. Put both feet in the Jordan River, not just a toe. And it's when we do that we see God work so amazing, like filling these jars. Because when we put both feet in, it takes our faith to a completely different level. Basically, it's having skin in the game, if you want to use kind of a fleshly saying. You know, our kids, when they wanted to buy something, they could save for it. And often, if they had saved, like, for example, when we was popular, when the Wii was popular, they wanted a Wii. Well, we could have given them a Wii, but we wanted them to have skin in the game. We wanted them to have an investment. So we put up part of it, and then they saved part of it. And when we do that with God, when we make an investment, it takes our faith journey to a whole different level. The Lord often asks us to walk out our faith in front of other people. Isn't it so easy to have faith in God privately? So much more easy to have faith in God privately. It's just between us, God. But how much more difficult is the faith journey when he asks us to invite others into it. That's what they had to do. They had to invite others into it. Can you imagine the questions that were asked? What do you need these jars for? I actually collect these jars because I'm going to need them next season. Am I going to get them back? That's what my grandmother would have said about her quart jars. I'm going to be canning next year. Am I going to get my jars back for my beans? So the questions that were probably raised when the sons went to get the jars piqued the curiosity of the town folks, I'm sure. And I'm not going to read all of McLaurin's there, his quote, but and I'll let you do that. Wishing is one thing, willing is quite another. The Lord often needs to empty us of ourselves so he can fully fill us with himself. She had to be willing to pour out the last bit of oil that she had in order to receive the abundance, not just of the oil. She didn't know what Elijah was going to tell her to do. She didn't know Elijah was going to tell her to go sell it. Wonder if she thought, oh, he's just supplying my oil so I can cook for my family for a while longer. We don't know. She didn't know. She committed to obey and do what the man of God told her to do. And she was willing to empty herself out completely in order to experience that. It's not our emptiness, but our fullness which can hinder the outgoings of free grace. We have to trust God with all that we have in order to experience all he has to give. We have to be willing to trust him with our children, with our finances, with our feelings, with our occupations, with our emotions, with everything, with our words, with our actions. We have to trust him. I have a friend who is going through a difficult season right now. And she said to me the other day, Wendy, I'm relying on God to tell me every step of every hour, of every minute of every hour, where to go, where not to go, what to say, what not to say. Oh, that we would all live like that. She's in a crisis right now. And she's experiencing him like she's never experienced him before. She is emptying her flask of oil out every day for God to fill it and give her and help her sustain her. That's exactly what she's doing. Oh, that we would all live like that. Or do we just sit around wishing things would be different? When God has a perfect plan, but we're not committing because we are not certain of it. Or we might have to empty ourselves. Or we might have to ask other people to step in. And we don't want anybody to know about our troubles. Love, love, love today's lesson. I hope you did too. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.